Hello, Dr. David Alter here from IBS Relief Now, talking to you today about stress. Stress is a topic many, maybe most of my clients come in with, but we know that having IBS is incredibly stressful. You don't feel you have control over your body and you feel that you're losing control over your life. Why wouldn't that be stressful? When clients come to see me complaining about how stressed they are, there are a number of issues that I have to address right away. Just because you're stressed out doesn't mean that IBS is reducible to stress. IBS is not in your head. But learning to manage stress, which does involve your head or your mind, is critically important when it comes to learning how to manage IBS on a long-term basis. Well, that really begs the question of what stress is. One of the definitions is that it's the rate of wear and tear on the body as we encounter day-to-day life. Interesting idea, except that it doesn't go far enough. Every individual has a different rate of wear and tear. And that's an important point, because what's stressful for you may not be stressful for me. Or if it's stressful for both of us, the particular way in which it's stressful for you may be different than the way it's stressful for me. In other words, it's less about the event out there and more about how we respond, both physically, at all levels of the body, and how we respond in terms of our mental attitudes and outlook, and the decisions that we make to deal with that stressor. But that's also how it's supposed to be. Stress is necessary for us to thrive and grow, because when we're stressed, it pushes us into a problem-solving mode. It pushes us to be creative, to come up with a way of learning to be able to adjust and adapt to uncertainty. And that's critical for long-term IBS control and good general life stress management control. Under the influence of that on a chronic basis, we develop patterns of anxiety and depression. Anxiety in the form of what-if thinking, and also a sense of depression with the attitude that whatever I do isn't going to matter anyway. You can feel helpless, maybe even hopeless, that this experience you're having is ever going to be able to change. So that's what's going on in the body under the pressure of chronic stress. Let's talk about what's most important, and that's what in the world you can do about it. Surprisingly, the first thing I'd suggest is you have to learn how to develop the ability to focus and sustain focused attention. That's important because without that, you can continually be drawn into the past, ruminating, and going over and over in your mind, obsessing about things that are already done, or feeling paralyzed by what hasn't happened yet, but something that's constantly leaving you afraid of what hasn't even arrived yet. So focusing attention is one part of it. The second is where you focus that attention, and that's in the present moment. You can do that through practices like mindfulness. You can do that through body scans where you slowly pay attention to what's actually happening in the body right now in this very minute. You can do it by something as simple as a nice cleansing breath where you close your eyes, breathe in, lifting your shoulders up to your ears, holding it for a few moments, and then exhaling as you let that go. That's a practice that brings you into the present moment. Another really important stress management skill is to recognize that as a social creature, when we're distressed, we seek connection. So look for the company of friends, family, or loved ones. Resist the urge to go off and hide and seek connection. Even if you're not talking about what is stressing you out, being in the presence of a caring, loving other, another person, can be very good at breaking up the feelings of chronic stress. Another is to get your body in motion. When you're under the pressure of chronic stress, it's really important that the body is moving. The effect is to break up the hormones that are stress hormones that are circulating in your body. You metabolize them. You change your mental outlook. You reduce anxiety and lift up the feelings of depression so that they evaporate. So movement is a really important stress management practice to engage in. There are a number of other health habits that I really recommend that you explore. One is to practice mindful eating. Eat slowly. Set aside the time to eat. Make eating not just a time where you're getting nutrients, but a time when you're literally nourishing your relationships or maybe even your deepest sense of self. Take seriously the need to sleep. Develop good sleep hygiene, because there's really nothing more effective than a good night's sleep at pushing the body and the mind's reboot button. It's important to recognize that your mind works a little bit like a teeter-totter. When you're focused on worry and dread, you're not curious. You're not able to engage those mental qualities that have you seeking new experiences and new opportunities. It actually diminishes a sense of joy. So good stress management involves cultivating a sense of what is new and different and being curious about it, things that challenge your mind, things that you have not encountered before and frankly aren't quite sure what to do with. But that deep involvement with that kind of creative, curious problem solving is surprisingly very effective at breaking the patterns of chronic stress and reinstilling in you a sense of being in control of your life and of your body. So with this quick overview of chronic stress and its effect on IBS, I hope I've whetted your appetite and given you some guidance about what you can do to begin to put yourself back in charge, not only of symptoms of IBS, but as I always say, also in control of your life as a whole. Thanks for listening. Until next time, take care.